Welcome back to Tech Layoff Diaries. This is it, y'all. Week 6, the final episode. And if you've made it this far, you've survived the chaos, you've built a system, and you've been running the engine. And by now, one of 3 things is happening. You're getting offers or you're close to it. You're deep in the process, but nothing's landed yet. Or you're starting to wonder if you need to pivot your strategy entirely. 6 weeks in, I wasn't even close to an offer, and I'd had 2 interviews out of 120 applications. I was frustrated, grinding it out, but nothing made me stop to think, this isn't working. I was about to question everything, but I hadn't yet. And it wasn't until week 8 that it finally clicked. My entire strategy was wrong. Week 6 is about playing the long game, and that means negotiating offers without shrinking, knowing when to pivot your strategy, maintaining your boundaries and self-worth, right? And preparing for re-entry or choosing a different path entirely. And this is about agency, right? You're in control, even when it doesn't feel like it. So let's get into this last episode. First, let's talk about what happens if you get an offer. Here's what you might be thinking. I've been unemployed for weeks. I should take whatever they give me. And I'm lucky they even want me. Stop thinking that way. That's scarcity talking, not strategy. You can negotiate after a layoff, right? Your unemployment doesn't erase your value. And here's how to do it. Step 1, do your due diligence before accepting anything. What's the full scope of the role, right? What are their expectations in the first 90 days? What's the total comp, right? Base, bonus, equity, benefits. What's the flexibility? Is it remote? Is it hybrid? What are the hours? Step 2, you want to research realistic salary ranges for your role, location, and your experience level. Use Glassdoor, levels.fyi, pay scale, or ask your network. Go in with data, not guesses. Step 3, let them put numbers down first when possible. Then counter with what the market data says, right? And your specific outcomes. You would say something like, based on my research and the impact I've delivered, like whatever the specific metric is, I was expecting something closer to X range. Is there some flexibility there? I started as a contractor with a set hourly rate, right? I was fine with that because the company aligned with my values. I believed in the work. But when they offered me a full-time role, I negotiated. And of course, I was scared, right? I didn't want to sound greedy or block my blessings, as they say, but I'd proven myself during my contract period. So I asked for what I was worth. And they said yes. The worst they could have said was no. But because I delivered great work, they were happy to give me what I asked for. And here's something critical for women in tech and marketing. We are statistically underpaid. We're less likely to negotiate, and when we do, we ask for less. Treating negotiation as a standard and not being greedy is part of closing that gap. You're not being difficult, friend. You're being professional. Now let's talk about what to do if week 6 rolls around and you're not getting any offers or interviews or even responses. If 4 to 6 weeks of focused applications get you very few interviews, that's a signal to audit your strategy. Ask yourself, are the roles I'm applying to too senior? Are they too junior? Am I in a too narrow niche, right? Like maybe senior product marketing manager at Series B SaaS, for example, is too specific. Are my materials actually aligned with what these roles need? In the beginning, like I said a million times before, I applied to everything with marketing in the title. And it took me 2 months to realize that wasn't working. And that's when I got really specific. And I picked 3 job titles I was actually interested in, and then narrowed it down to 1, which was product marketing manager. Once I stopped the blanket approach and got really strategic about the one role I really wanted, things started to change. So consider some bridge moves, right? Like adjacent roles, content marketing instead of product marketing, or marketing operations instead of lifecycle marketing, or look into industries that are actually hiring right now. If tech is frozen, which it is, look at healthcare tech or fintech or ed tech. Check out contract or fractional work. Like this keeps money and experience flowing while you search. Then you can adjust your time allocation, right? If code applications aren't converting, shift more time to networking and referrals, which land most roles anyway. If interviews are happening but not converting, invest more in interview prep. And if nothing's happening at all, it might be time to expand your target list or revisit your positioning altogether. The long game means being honest about what's working and what's not, and being willing to adjust that. Here's the thing about week 6. Okay, you're tired. Okay, you've been at this for over a month, and the temptation is to say yes to anything just to make it stop. Don't. Set clear boundaries around your search time. Okay, for example, you would job search or do job search work from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Right? No late night scrolling on LinkedIn or job boards. And then the weekends are for rest, not for applications, right? You need to set boundaries to avoid burnout. And this right now is a marathon, right? It's not a sprint. So ground your identity in who you are beyond your job title. Your worth does not go up or down with every rejection or recruiter email. You are not your employment status. After living in rejection city for a while, I started taking it personally, right? Like, I couldn't separate my worth from my resume. And it took me 2 months to realize I'm a person first. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and I'm more than my job title. And professionally, well, I'm really good at what I do. And these rejections aren't about me. They're about fit. But in the thick of it, I slipped into doom scrolling, right? LinkedIn, Indeed, refreshing my email every 5 minutes, hoping I didn't miss something, right? Like, I wasn't kind to myself mentally or emotionally. And that's not sustainable when you have to be a parent, a partner, and keep showing up for interviews. And I had to protect my worth, not just chase jobs. So remember to protect your standards. Don't accept toxic cultures just because you're tired, exploitative pay just because you need income, roles misaligned with your non-negotiables just because they're available. I know it's easier said than done when bills are due, right? But if you can hold out a little longer, do so, because accepting the wrong role could set you back further than staying unemployed for a few more weeks. Okay, so let's say you're close to an offer or you're deep in final rounds. What now? Shift your energy into deep preparation, friend. I'm talking interview prep, right? You want to nail those final rounds. Look into your 30, 60, 90 plan. What will you do in your first 3 months? Okay, your support system. What do you need to re-enter without burning out or trying to prove yourself? When interviews finally started rolling in after I revamped my strategy, I was nervous, right? My interview muscle was extremely weak and I hadn't practiced in months. So I prepped pretty hard. I built out my STAR method responses. I used AI to anticipate questions based on job descriptions. I kept posting on LinkedIn and building connections and reminding myself I'm worthy of a job. I stopped trying to prove myself and just show up as me, the great product marketer that I know that I am. Someone was gonna snatch me up eventually, right? It was just a matter of time. And here's the thing about re-entry. You don't owe them overwork. You don't need to work 60 hours a week to prove the layoff wasn't your fault. You already know it wasn't. So set boundaries from day one, right? Deliver great work during your actual hours. Protect what you fought so hard to rebuild during this search. But what if week 6 rolls around and things are still slow? Treat this as a checkpoint and not a failure, right? You have 2 options. Option 1, double down on your current search. Expand your target list. Increase networking efforts, right? Refine your positioning. Option 2, intentionally choose a different path. Pivot to a new industry or role. Go all in on fractional work or freelance work. Take a skill sprint, right? Learn something new and build a portfolio. And if you can afford it, take a sabbatical and come back stronger. Both options are valid. Both options are wins. But the key is that you're choosing, not just defaulting to one. Overall, my search took 4 months, right? And in the last 2 months, I interviewed nonstop. Multiple final rounds, multiple rejections, but I kept going. At the 6-week mark, I doubled down, right? I refined my strategy and pivoted from a generalist marketer to a product marketing manager with that title. That was my win, right? Getting intentional about where I spent my energy. I also earned my marketing AI certification. I built out my portfolio, created case studies. I couldn't afford a sabbatical, unfortunately. I wish I could have, but I took my current job, which was contract at first, and that contract turned into my full-time role. right? So it was a risk, but it worked out. So here's what you want to avoid this week. Do not accept an offer out of desperation that violates your non-negotiables. Don't negotiate against yourself by lowballing before they even make an offer. Don't lose yourself in the process by making your entire identity about your job search. Like I said before, at week 6, I was nowhere near an offer, and I lost myself a bit in the process. Job searching became my entire persona on LinkedIn. Like, woe is me, this job market sucks, right? And I regret that. And if I could do it over, I'd focus more on showcasing my product marketing work instead of making unemployment my identity. And this probably won't be my last layoff, right? So next time, I'll do better by preserving my whole self and highlighting my professional wins and not just my struggles. So here's your checklist for week 6. If you get an offer, research salary ranges, do your due diligence, and negotiate with confidence, friend. Okay, you got this. If applications aren't converting, like audit your strategy, your roles, materials, approach. Consider bridge moves, right? Adjacent roles, contract work, industries that are actually hiring. And then set boundaries, fix search hours, no late night scrolling, and take them weekends off. Protect your standards. Don't accept toxic cultures or exploitative offers. And if you're close to re-entry, prep deeply, right? Build a 30, 60, 90-day plan. Set boundaries from day 1. And if things are slow, which they could be, treat week 6 as a checkpoint and double down or pivot intentionally. And I'll give you this last bonus in this series. Reflect on what you've learned about yourself in these 6 weeks. What do you want to remember when you're back in a role? All right, friend, that's all I have for you in this series. We've covered 6 weeks together, right? From the chaos of day 1 to the strategy of week 6. Here's what I want you to know. Whether you land a role this week, next month, or 3 months from now, you're not behind. Your timeline is your timeline. Whether you go back into a traditional 9-to-5, pivot to something new, or build a fractional career or start a business, you're not failing. You're choosing what works for you. And whether you negotiated hard, set boundaries, or had to compromise because life is complicated, you're doing your best, okay? And your best is enough. I'd wish I'd known these things in my first 6 weeks after layoff. And right now, I'm gainfully employed, yes, but I'm still nervous about this job market. And that's okay. Here's what I want you to take away. Everybody's path back to employment is different, but we're all in this together. You're not alone in what might be the most ridiculous job market we've ever seen or experienced. And here's what I tell my week 1 self. You're gonna be okay. And trouble don't last always. This series was never about finding a job. It was about not losing yourself in the process, about rebuilding with intention, about remembering that a layoff doesn't define you. How you respond to it does, though. So thank you for trusting me with your story. And thank you for being here. If this series helped you, please share it with someone who needs it. And remember that you got this. And I believe in you, if nobody else does, okay? And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.